everybody. Welcome to It's in the Cards. Last week I was not here. I was over in Hatboro doing a fundraiser, helping them out with their spring festival and carnival, doing discounted readings and donating a percentage of the proceeds to Hatboro. You have me back live this week. Hope everybody had a fabulous 2 weeks. The weather here has been really weird. This time last week it was about 40 degrees, maybe high 30s, and tonight it's might not probably even get out of the 80s. We're hitting the heat wave starting tomorrow in the 90s to 100. Joy. I can't stand this sweltering weather, but it is summer after all. I have a special show tonight that I wanted to do for you. I had gotten a package, actually, a week ago, and it was from Schiffer, and I had a whole bunch of goodies inside the package. It was like Christmas, and I had to wait till I got home from the carnival to open it because it hadn't arrived until sometime after I left the house after 5 o'clock. Anyway, I thought it would be a good time to do something new and do it with the Schiffer gifts that I received. I'm calling tonight's show and Tell because I've got goodies and I'm going to show them all to you and we're going to tell you all about them. To be fair, because I was all week from last Tuesday until Monday doing the carnival till 11 o'clock at night each day and recuperating, trying to yesterday. I have not had a chance to give every single deck my complete full attention, but I have gone through all of them. Some will be touched on a little bit more than others. There's a total of 6 decks, 2 of which are Oracle decks. So we're going to talk later. There's a lot of questions people have, especially people that are new to the cards. They think they're picking up a Tarot deck, and they actually have an Oracle deck. What is the difference? We're going to discuss that later on in the show too. I'm also going to take your calls throughout the entire show. If you have questions that you want to call in and ask about the decks or picking one out in general, or if you would like to have a quick mini reading, I will be doing that as well. So feel free and call in. Which goodie should we start with? Let's start with the one that has been talking to me all week, the Inner Realms Tarot by Saleri. I hope I said her name right. Schiffer does marvelous packaging. This is the deck. This is what most of the decks and how they are packaged, like a little treasure box with the treasure cards in it. The Inner Realm Tarot has, for whatever reason, it drove my attention immediately, more so than all the rest of them that I got. And when I get the decks, the first thing that I tend to do is go through the cards. I do what I always advise and do people's just starting out and ignore the little white book. In this case, it's not such a little white book, and it's fairly large, as all of these decks are. I'm going to get them out here so you can see them. They come packaged fabulously, as you just saw. This is the back of the deck. The cards reversible with the design that they did. You won't be able to tell with them turned over if they're upright or reversed till you flip them. As I was, the immediate thing that I noticed with this deck is that there's keywords printed on them. This part of it is personal preference. I myself am not keen on having keywords put on the front of the cards. The reason being is I feel that it influences people and it may block people, that especially those just starting out learning to read. I feel it hinders your natural intuition of what you yourself want to bring into the cards and their meanings. But they're not bold. There's 4 of them. They're done blended in to the cards for the most part. So they're not bold and standing out. This is a very different deck with the different designs that you see drawn, not what you're used to. This is the strength card. With the typical Rider-Waite deck that people are used to, the strength card is the woman with the lion taming it and to show the inner strength. This card was done showing your energies in what could appear to be your heart, stemming from within. The keywords that were put on this was courage, balance, patience, compassion, and strength. So yeah, the Fool has 4. Most of the other ones have 5 keywords on it. The next thing that I noticed going through the deck, which this again is a personal preference for people, and they may or may not like the deck on account of it, is the minors. The minors are just made like pips. You have the 10 of Pentacles, so you just have the 10 Pentacles. There's on some, they're in different design pattern. If it was not for the writing on the card, this would really just be, you wouldn't know which ways, the reverse or the upright. A 7 of Pentacles is in the form of an upside down U. Some people like it and find it interesting to read this way. Other people like the details with photos being shown. So with them done this way, it is going to be a personal choice for each of you. Overall, I really do love the deck, the designs. Here is the swords. She added something different rather than just have the swords depicted, almost like electrical currents going through each of the sword cards. Then I went and pulled out her book. And I wanted to see, since I had gone through the cards, what it is she had to say. Each creator puts their own little touch into the cards. As you can see, it's a pretty thick book, nice size book. It's a total of over 100 pages, 120 some pages. The book starts out with the dedication and the acknowledgments, the contents, the intro. Let your spirit guide you. When I got to this book, I actually started a discussion on my Facebook page. I did also actually write to Soleri, the creator of the deck, because I found the book contradicts the deck in the way that I was reading things and viewing it. And I was hoping to hear back from her regarding some of the points that kind of puzzled me and made me go, what's that all about? And I was hoping to hear back from her so that I could be fair and point out my problems, my moments that I had, but have her explanation to tell you about as well. But that did not occur. I have not heard back from her regarding my concerns. It's also why I did not yet do a written review on the deck. The contradiction that I'm finding, the title, terrific, Let Your Spirit Guide You. She writes the book very simple, easy to read, easy to understand. Well done that way. Not complicated at all. She talks about letting your spirit guide you, what I always tell people when I am teaching somebody new. The first thing about that is I say, don't touch the book. Get familiar with your cards. Reading is, cards do have key words, key phrases, key meanings, but they vary, they change. And every reader wants to put their own input and their own intuition into them. And that's what she discusses in the book, to build your own intuition and come up with your own familiarity with the cards. And what they're saying to you, kind of contradictory when you made the cards with keywords on the front. To me, my personal thing, if I was just starting out and learning, that fact right there would hinder me being able to use my intuitive abilities and connect to the cards, because the keywords are there right in front of you on the cards. Kind of hard, I would think, for a lot of people to get away from those keywords. The borders, there's really no border on these cards. The question just came up in the chat room. If you notice, there is a nice swirly pattern around the three sides, and the keywords are thrown in the center of the photos. Across the top, in place of the swirly border frame, is the name of the card. So cutting off borders really would take away the swirly frame. The keywords are thrown throughout on all of them in the center. The 8 of Cups, the 8s are lined up and down. The keywords are lined up and down right in the center. So that was kind of a, wait a minute here, what are you doing? You want people to learn the cards intuitively, come up with their own things for them, but yet put in keywords. One of those things that made me scratch my head, and I still am. There was a couple points also in this book that made me go, And one of them was one of the discussions I quoted and put up on my Facebook page. She titles, after the introduction, her chapter 1, she titles it, You Are the Boss. Throughout this couple pages, 4 and a half pages, she talks about that you're in charge. We all have to develop our own style, our own method. Absolutely, 100%, total agreement with all of that. But then she puts things in it such as, and I just lost it. When you're done doing a reading, I want to quote it actually. And she puts in it about when you're doing back-to-back clients, as I was last week, the fact that energies from the prior person, the prior quadrant, needs to come off of the cards so that it's not affecting the next reading. All well and good. That's great. There's tons of methods out there for people to use. When she talks about it, however, she doesn't state that there's all kinds of methods to use, that this is the one that works for me. She has on page 11, I'm reading right from the book, she puts, when a reading is over, rub your hands together and release the energy of the last quadrant's reading before you begin the next reading, as energy can linger. Remember, everything you feel, think, or sense during a reading has to do with the quadrant. If you feel something physical like a headache, remember it belongs to them and not to you. That's a very great point, that, you know, you may get a headache or a sore arm and it's from the other person. You don't get told that much when you're reading, and people kind of wonder, why do I feel so drained, or where'd this migraine come from? The part that bothers me is, again, you are the boss, discussing, come up with your own style. But yet, it makes it sound like the only way to clean off the cards and get the energies off of them is by going like this. Again, to me, contradicting itself right there in the same chapter. Maybe others wouldn't see that as contradictory, and just an example out there that she used. For me, the way that it's worded makes it sound like that is the one and only way of doing things. There's plenty of ways other than that to do it. She also mentions, I did not put this on Facebook. I was saving it, wanted to save some of the things for the show actually. And she puts in this can be, I'm going back and forth with it if it should have even been put in here at all. She talks in page 11, the same page, the next paragraph. She says, okay, it's time to open your deck and begin the process of saying hello to your cards. You'll become old friends. Some you will be glad to see when they pop up, and there will be some you will dread. The next part is kind of, she puts, I used to read for a friend of mine, and the Nine of Wands kept showing up, advising she must be patient. I begged the cards to find another way, but no, it kept popping up because that was what she needed to hear. Soon as I read, I begged the cards to find another way, I went, oh! I was really glad that she added, it kept coming up because that's what she needed to know. So that one kind of, you know, she saved herself there. You should never attempt to try to influence the cards. You know, at times, especially when we're reading for ourselves, we might, or be very tempted to, oh, that's what came, I don't want that, and keep shuffling. Not supposed to do that. You do that, then you're not even going to get a legitimate reading, because the cards are just going to mess with you and just give you reading things that don't even apply to your question and what you're looking at. She then states, which I did not care for at all, because everyone that knows me, has had readings from me, knows that I'm to the point. When you read, you have to be honest. If something comes through for us as a reader, we have to tell it, or we wouldn't receive the information. There is a nice professional way to state the information, though. Um, and that's with care and compassion, and you just don't blurt things out. So she puts for her final write-up of this is one last word on readings. If you see something negative, don't pass it on. Only pass on love and light through the cards. Oh my God, I screamed when I read that. What? Really? No. There's a way to do things. If you're going to just tell people what they want to hear, you don't need a deck. Just, have a counseling session, a friend-on-friend counseling session. She did add to that, though, and I'm not going to just leave it there. She did kind of say that, but not emphasizing it. She put, if you feel there is a loss coming up, prepare them, guide them. Don't blurt out, oh my God, you're losing your house. I know you wouldn't do this, but you'd be surprised how many people would be that direct. And that's how she leaves it. Kinda, I don't know. She did, like I said, she saved herself in my eyes a bit by explaining there's a way to say it, but she just left it. No example of what a nice way it could be worded. She wrote this book for beginners that are just picking up the deck for the first time, and that's why she explains as well why she put keywords on the cards so that they could have a baseline for a meaning. Still, in my opinion, it's going to hinder getting that intuitive, personal, one-on-one psychic added info for the cards. But, some of you out there might feel differently, and it would be a help to his personal opinion, but that's my little peeves with this deck that attracted my attention out of all the decks I've received. Getting distracted a little bit. There's something in the chat room talking about spells with cards. Yes, people do that. That is able to be done. There's different books out there that are basically for how to do that. Meditation can be done with the cards as well. There's a whole lot of things that can be done with your tarot deck. I'm going to move on to another deck because I'm going to be running out if I don't, and I would hope that somehow I would be able to get Soleri on for the Inner Realms Tarot so that I can have the 111 as to why she put the things in that I just discussed, and we can hear her explanations for that, since I didn't get that back from in time for the show tonight. I'm going to move on to the Tarot Lovers Tarot. This deck, they're all by Schiffer. This deck is done by Karen Easton. Karen, with a what? Karen. Karyn. Sorry, Karen. This deck is a very interesting deck. This deck, when you open it and you see the Fool, it will remind you of typical, Rider-Waite, carrying the pack, the dog. The colors are very bland, very muted, very natural. And that is because this deck is done in a modernized Tarot de Marseille. I always say that wrong, Marseille deck. I'm still saying it wrong. Okay, let's move on. Tongue's not working. Here is some of the court cards. you notice with the Queen, this is the Queen of Cups, they're standing in the Raider Waite that people are most familiar with. Your kings and queens are sitting in their thrones. Also, this is done the same with the minors as the inner realms that I just got done discussing, where the minors are the pips with only the suit showing. So in this case, it's the pentacles, the 5 of coins, as they're called. There's no picture detail, no pictures of anybody doing anything, which usually hinders somebody just starting out, learning to read the cards. They are reversible. The backs are the same, regardless if they're upright or in the reverse. I was able to give attention to this deck during the week. And with this deck here, I believe this is the one, instead of the little white book, they call it the little black book. And it's not so little. As you can see, it's even thicker and bigger than the inner realms. It's a total of 208 pages. The cards are depicted with a lengthy write-up for each one, rather than the little tiny paragraph or keywords that you get with the Raider Waites and other things. The deck she talks about, again, this is something I had a discussion with someone, a friend of mine on the phone that had gotten the same deck, and they asked if I was able to peek in the book at all. It was only briefly. I was busy, and the book they felt was contradictory as well, and a bit confusing when discussing the Raider Waite type and the old traditional styles that this is supposed to represent. I can't say one way or the other. My personal opinion, I did not have time to delve into the deck other than glancing at the first couple pages of it. They do have the knight on the horse, which is the normal in the Raider Waite. The King of Coins is sitting in a chair. The Queen of Coins is standing. The cups, this one caught my eye. This is the Two of Cups. Kind of looks like harps instead of cups there. They added the vines and the leaves and the flowers to kind of give some help with the meanings for a beginner. And again, it is in the typical, wonderful, hard treasure box, as I call it, that Schiffer is known for their packing. The cards are larger. They're the same size as the inner realms. They're larger, a little harder to shuffle, especially if somebody has smaller hands. They would have to shuffle it this way. They hold up because they are thicker than the traditional Raider Waite style. I'm going to move on and change up on you a little bit and give a break. I did 2 of the tarot decks. I'm going to hit on the oracles so that before we run out of time, because the last 2 tarot decks, there's not much for me to say on them, so they'll be saved for last. So we're going to go to the oracle decks. I got two of them. We're going to do the higher intuition oracle deck first. This is in a smaller size box. Still the same pop-up treasure type lid and packaging. First, I guess we should get into what's the difference between oracle and tarot. And there's a lot of differences, actually. People pick up that they think there aren't any. They pick up an oracle deck, don't even realize it. They're drawn to the pictures and things, and they grab it, and they think they're going to be able to learn tarot with it. Doesn't happen. There's a lot of difference. The first main difference is the fact that there's standard things with tarot decks. The first one being there's always 78 cards. 1 to 2 are majors, the rest are the minors, and then you have the quirk cards as well. It follows a tradition, a pattern, lots of meaning, lots of things can get added into tarot, such as numerology, astrology, tree of life, Kabbalah, and the list goes on. Oracle cards can be as many cards as the creator of the deck wants to make them. The average that I see is usually around 44 or so, but they are as high as 90. I have a caller. Hello, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, what's your name?
Amanda.
Amanda, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thanks. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I was actually wondering if you could do a car reading.
Sure. I'm going to get out, do it on the greater weight, however, because the new ones I still have to talk about and do reviews, and I want to keep them in order. So
okay.
I'm going to use the standard traditional that people are used to. What is your question, Amanda?
I'd kind of like to know what's kind of going on in my life right now.
Okay, well, I have a limited time because this is on air and I have to be off at a certain time. That is too general.
Okay.
If you have a specific area that you want me to look at specifically?
Relationship.
Relationship.
My relationship.
Okay. Yep. All right. I'm going to pull 3 cards as soon as I am done shuffling them, and let's see here what we're getting.
Okay.
You've been feeling as if you're being taken advantage of. You're being the doormat.
Yes.
You're doing all the sacrificing. There's no even give and take. It's you putting everything into this and one-sided. You've got tons of battles that you're fighting, minor and large, but there's so many minor battles that are taking place that's the true reason for the feuding and the not getting along right now gets overlooked. Because right now, every little thing just can set you off. When normally it would not. And that's because you're realizing that you're just putting so much of your energy into it, you're not getting it back. You're not getting it reciprocated at all. And for that info, so you can see the cards, the Hanged Man reversed, and the 5 of Wands upright. Your third and final card is the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords is the bitch of the deck. She's the deck. The court cards are representative of your personality. This is cards for you specifically.
Okay.
And she's a reminder that you need to start using that sword. You need to start putting your foot down as you're able to. You've got such drainage spiritually, emotionally, that you just feel like you don't have the energy to do that. But you do. You know, you pick and choose your fights.
Yeah.
And your battles. Don't waste the energy over left the sock on the floor again instead of putting it in the hamper. Get to the source of all of this frustration so that communication can be given on the things it needs to be given on. Otherwise, nothing's going to get resolved. Nothing's going to change. Do a small protest, like I just got told. Protest something. You know, start out small. If you know, refuse to do the laundry, refuse to wash the dishes or something. Start out that way. Just if you need to get your point across that you're tired of being everybody's slave and you're not a slave, you know, and you mean business. Don't get distracted with the everyday details, though. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling in.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Amanda.
Bye.
Bye. The Oracle decks can have anywhere as many or as little cards as they want. There is no structure. There is no format to it at all. Usually the creator of the deck doing an Oracle deck picks a set topic or thing that they want to have. They might like unicorns. I have a couple unicorns out myself that are Oracle decks. They might like, the most common is angel decks. You'll hear people that do angel readings. That's the type of thing that they're using. I'm starting with the higher intuition Oracle deck. That's made by Christy Rabinet and Jonah Gibson Bowman. And the reason is because this deck I was actually able to put to use last week during the fundraiser that I did. And this is a fabulous deck for children as well. If you have kids that want to start getting interested in tarot or in Oracle cards, this is a fabulous deck for that. It's not threatening. Another difference between tarot and oracles is that a lot of people tend to use the oracles for a message of the day. And they use them for the oracles for like a message. The tarot can be as well. You hear card of the day. The oracles, like I said, tend to follow a theme. With the higher intuitions oracle, it's animals from nature. And the top one that I happen to have here is See Through the Illusions. And it is dragonflies shown. And you don't need the book to determine what the meaning is behind the card, because means make sure that you are clear sighted. Get Alf to take those rose colored glasses off. Um, and see things for how they are. Stop being illusioned, would be a message for that. Another one, bumblebees at the flowers, and they have written under it, get busy. Message there, simple, get busy. That project you've been postponing and delaying, whatever it might be, hop to it or get buzzing. Start working on it and get going. You've hemmed and hawed and thought about it for way too long. So these cards are non-threatening. For anybody that has, they even have this one's Pegasus, and that one is soar. Use your wings and soar. Use your abilities and go for it. Like I said, they're non-threatening. It's all animals in nature. It's a 44 card deck. Because the event that I was at was a fundraiser, but it was me set up at a carnival. There's lots of children around. Moms coming with their children with them. I don't do readings, say, with the Oracle decks. The way I use them when I do readings is when somebody has a long involved reading, 15-minute reading or longer. When I am finished with their reading, I will wrap it up with an Oracle card and let them pick one. And it's freaky because they sit there, they watch me shuffle, and they see the card that comes out, and it always is a card that pertains to what the main message for them was with the tarot reading. Then we're going to be running out of time, so these are going to be quick, as I said. The next Oracle deck is I'm going to say it wrong, the Maori Oracle. It's written and illustrated by P.A. Manel. This deck, I'm going to be honest, I took it out. I looked at it. That was as far as it went, because honestly, this deck, what it is it's an Oracle, and it is the sacred ways of the New Zealand Maori, and I may not even be pronouncing that properly. They're green cards. I'm not fond of color green. That's neither here nor there. That's the back. These are the front. Some of them just, as you can see with this front one, just blends in. This deck, the reason I did not really go near it more than say, okay, that's nice, is because you're going to have to use the book with this deck, and you're going to have to look up each of these cards. They're all New Zealand spiritual names or whatever they are. This deck kind of reminded me of runes with the odd names and things, and I'm not even going to be able to pronounce them. This one's a bird's head. I don't know if you can see that or not, because they put the words on that one blended, but it's Kotarepopo. Coach Katarapopo. I have no clue. So this would be about not only learning how to pronounce each of the cards, but learning what they actually are. The first one, for example, Aruhi, looks like a little tree there. Kind of reminds me, it comes to mind, the Christmas show, Charlie Brown, Christmas tree. It's about dependability, have faith. I'm not going to read the paragraph because there's words even in the paragraph that I cannot pronounce. But it was a gift of Hayumatiket hockey, however you say it, which is the god of wild food. So it's a whole lot of things that you need to learn if you're good at memorizing. I never was when I went to school. And as I'm getting older, my learning and memorization is not improving at all. The next deck that I paid attention to, but it's just a matter of personal taste and it did not really appeal to me, is the Dream Raven Tarot. Again, the treasure chest type box, running out of time, so I'm going to be rushing through these last two. Not much for me to say about them. These are watercolor cards. 128-page guidebook with it. It was done by Beth Seelman. Maybe I'm pronouncing the name wrong. Sorry, Beth. These are the Schiffer large cards. Would have to shuffle this way as opposed to this way for smaller hands. This deck is every single card a raven. Very few of them have the raven looking forward. They're to the side. A lot of the pictures actually, like for the cups. Cups is the water element, so it's supposed to be like wavy. To me, it looks like octopus arms. That was what I saw when I first spotted an octopus. For the pentacles, she uses pentacles, typical coins. Just bright watercolored cards with a raven in different positions. The one thing that I noticed is some of the cards, you would expect the raven to have a happy look, and to me, on some of them, kind of look sad. I did not give any more attention. I did not even do readings with that one. The final deck is the Healing Tarot, 78 Ways to Wellness. This was done by Juno Lucina, illustrated by Monica Knighton. This deck, to be honest, I had a short attention span. Because, number one, this deck was made for medical purposes, to try to state what healing is needed, what is medically wrong. Talks about in the book medical astrology and the tarot, well-placed and poorly placed cards. To me, cards are properly placed wherever they land, however you do your spread. If they come out and land in a spot, that's where they belong. But that section mentioned that if it's surrounded by the majority of positive cards, it's well placed. If it's surrounded by the majority of cards being negative, it's poorly placed. Yeah. To me, no, it's where it belongs. This is a very, very detailed book. I almost needed a magnifying glass to read it. It talks about the mind-body connection, how you can determine health issues with each and every card, and there's 4 to 6 pages written on each and every card. The deck's done in black and white, and he explains that that is done for the reason of health, to better depict things that are going on regarding that. To me, it's a lot of detail on some of the cards, too much, squished, hard to make out, but I haven't given this enough time at all to do anything with. I'm one that will not do health and medical readings anyway, so this deck unfortunately, will probably be one for me that sits on the shelf. I've been through all the decks. You'll be able to see quick before we go how each different deck, has its own unique style. I have a photo of the four tarot decks, the full card from each of them. The big difference, how everybody has their own design, their own way of doing things, and their own technique. Each deck out of these four are their own unique deck, their own way of reading them, their own special thing with them. That's my show and tell for tonight. I want to thank everybody for joining in and coming tonight. I missed the chat room. I had the thing blocked. I apologize if I did not get to anybody. We have a couple more minutes, Eric, or no?
You got 4.
4 minutes. Okay. Talking about a tribe that tattoos their face.
The tribe from New Zealand that does the warriors do an extremely loud chant with really aggravated body motions and making the really weird face and sticking their tongue out. That's the Maori tribe. That's the same tribe.
Okay. Thank you.
They do it to intimidate their warriors, but the deck, I believe, is just trying to show that they also have a very spiritual side.
Okay. Next week, I have a very special guest coming on to start out the month of June. And oh my God. I just had a brain freeze, a brain melt with the heat. It is Reverend, help me out, Eric.
Rita Louise?
No.
Robin Marie?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm having a brain melt. Give me some feedback, guys. Let me know if you enjoyed the show and tell, because if it's something that interests you and a show of, able to phone in while I'm doing it, maybe I will choose to do this, pick a week a month and make it a monthly thing, where I will bring on one deck at a time unless new decks get released. By the way, all the decks I spoke about were put out by Schiffer Publishing. They are their newest decks. They were just released this past month, May of 2013. So they're available to buy. If this interested you, like I said, do it maybe once a month, more often. Pick just one deck and discuss it, or two. And take your phone calls for readings. And with that, I hope everybody has a fantastic, wonderful week, and stay cool. Good night. Hi, everybody. Welcome to It's in the Cards. Last week I was not here. I was over in Hatboro doing a fundraiser, helping them out with their spring festival and carnival, doing discounted readings and donating a percentage of the proceeds to Hatboro. You have me back live this week. Hope everybody had a fabulous 2 weeks. The weather here has been really weird. This time last week it was about 40 degrees, maybe high 30s, and tonight it's might not probably even get out of the 80s. We're hitting the heat wave starting tomorrow in the 90s to 100. Joy, I can't stand this sweltering weather, but it is summer after all. I have a special show tonight that I wanted to do for yous. I had than others. There's a total of 6 decks, 2 of which are Oracle decks. So we're going to talk later. There's a lot of questions people have, especially people that are new to the cards. They think they're picking up a Tarot deck, and they actually have an Oracle deck. What is the difference? We're going to discuss that later on in the show, too. I'm also going to take your calls throughout the entire show. If you have questions that you want to call in and ask about the decks or picking one out in general, or if you would like to have a quick mini reading, I will be doing that as well. So feel free and call in. Which goodie should we start with? Let's start with the one that has been talking to me all week, the Inner Realms Tarot by Saleri. I hope I said her name right. Schiffer does marvelous packaging. This is the deck. This is what most of the decks and how they are packaged, like a little treasure box. With gotten a package actually a week ago, and it was from Schiffer, and I had a whole bunch of goodies inside the package. It was like Christmas, and I had to wait till I got home from the carnival to open it because it hadn't arrived until sometime after I left the house after 5 o'clock. Anyway, I thought it would be a good time to do something new and do it with the Schiffer gifts that I received. I'm calling tonight's show and Tell, because I've got goodies and I'm going to show them all to you, and we're going to tell you all about them. To be fair, because I was all week from last Tuesday until Monday doing the carnival till 11 o'clock at night each day, and recuperating, trying to yesterday. I have not had a chance to give every single deck my complete full attention, but I have gone through all of them. Some will be touched on a little bit more, the treasure cards in it. The Inner Realm Tarot has, for whatever reason, it drove my attention immediately, more so than all the rest of them that I got. And when I get the decks, the first thing that I tend to do is go through the cards. I do what I always advise and do people's just starting out and ignore the little white book. In this case, it's not such a little white book, and it's fairly large, as all of these decks are. I'm going to get them out here so you can see them. They come packaged fabulously, as you just saw. This is the back of the deck. The cards reversible with the design that they did. You won't be able to tell with them turned over if they're upright or reversed till you flip them. The immediate thing that I noticed with this deck is that there's keywords printed on them. This